Township Fire Department. We're going to talk about firefighter recruitment. We're going to share data on our 2020 responses. We're going to talk about our smoke alarm program and finish off with our community risk assessment that we're working on moving forward. So, Mayor, I believe you're first up. Let's hear about your initiatives.
Sure. Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us this evening. Um, Hopefully, since we're still virtual, more people can see the presentation that maybe could have showed up in person if we were having it in the township building. But so I've been mayor since January of 2020, and one of the first things that my administration had applied for was a management study with the DCED. And just before actually COVID hit, we were awarded the grant to have the study done. And that's going to be a big help for all of us. The DCED assigned a peer consultant, a firefighter in a combination department like we have here from Harrisburg. And hopefully in May, we'll hear the results of their study. So that was one thing I wanted to do because I'm not a firefighter. I don't know a lot about the fire department, except I have to say that the fire department is probably the most beloved of all our departments because they're always helping people, constantly. They are just, they do a great service for our community. Other than that, I was just vaguely aware when I was on council, about budget, issues that they had and things like that. But so we were very happy to get this study done by third party neutral entity. So hopefully in May, we'll all hear the results of that study. Chief Sawyer joined us in September. Previous to the start of his tenure, we had interim fire chief Michael Gove. And one of the things that he spent a lot of time working on before he retired was this the fire code inspection program. And that has mostly to do with commercial buildings like apartments and all the businesses that we have here in the township. And Derek stepped in September and really got things going. And I'm sure that he'll talk about it in more detail later. But I think this initiative sort of concretizes an official, clearly defined inspection program, which is something that we need to keep all of us as safe as possible. The other thing, the third block you see there, the civil service code changes. We have a civil service commission, and the people appointed to that commission, and they're all new in this administration. They kind of determine the parameters of who's qualified to apply for a position in the fire department and the police department. So it's really an important, very quiet. All their meetings are public, but it's sort of the kind of where the rubber hits the road in terms of opening things up. So we did want to open up who could apply for a firefighter position through changes that the Civil Service Commission requested. And those changes are also, it serves as a check and balance. They are looked at and examined, questioned by council who did pass the changes that the commission had made for qualifications for the fire department and the police department. And Chief Sawyer is going to talk more about the specifics as to changes that he's initiated since he's been here. And one thing that we're going to work on pretty soon is addressing the costs associated with false alarms. This happens a lot of times with commercial buildings as well, but often our fire department is called to address fire alarms. But if the fire alarm system isn't working well, they could be going to the same place 2, 3, 4, 5 times a month when there's no fire emergency. So this is a way to motivate business owners and homeowners in that if that case presents itself to having a really good, clear, not easily triggered for no reason fire alarm system. And then in general, together, all the department heads worked on a capital improvement plan, and the one put forth by Chief Sawyer is very aggressive in updating the apparatus that we have. So mostly like the way we would see it as regular residents here would be the fire trucks. So a lot of the fire trucks we still have or were purchased like over 30 years ago, which is a little bit past their useful time. And we have budgeted in the capital improvement plan for like kind of a quick turnover to get our apparatus up to the standards here. So legislation that the council passed last month addresses a reimbursement plan for when our fire department assists in vehicular accidents. This reimbursement does not apply to really any of the people involved in the accident. It's something from the insurance company. But it's important because every time our fire department's called out, there's gas, there's man hours, there's time devoted to it, and we've always responded, but we just want to get a little reimbursement so we can replenish the resources that were used at these accidents, and that's also kind of planned for in everybody's insurance, your insurance payments. So it's more just to make sure that the township, now going forward in the future, that we get what we sort of deserve. I mean, this is not revolutionary legislation. It is part of many municipalities code. So we're sort of keeping up with everybody else here with that initiative. So
Mayor, can I add to that a little bit?
Sure.
So one of the things I would like to add to that is that it's not an additional cost or expense to anyone in the community. You already pay for your insurance, so it's going to just come out of your insurance that you already paid. There's no additional premium cost, no additional cost or expense to any resident. If for some reason your insurance does not pay, you're not going to have to pay either way. So the most important thing is to know that it's not going to come out of your insurance. And if anything, it helps us increase the revenue for the township, which means it gives us another venue or an avenue to increase revenue without having to raise taxes. So I think it's important to note that this is an increase in revenue for the township and it doesn't cost the residents any additional funding.
Yeah, thank you for that. And it's been great working with Chief Sawyer because I feel like I learn new things almost every week about the fire department, about their needs, about what they do and where they are in the community. And just off the cuff, I'd like to thank Chief Sawyer for having volunteer fire companies. I think it was Highland Park.
Highland Park, yes.
All the cleanups. And I one thing that I really loved about Chief Sawyer or Derek before we hired him is that he's focused on creating a community-based department. And that's really important because Upper Darby's so big, right? We're the 6th largest municipality in the state. And we have, there's so much. And the more that the township and township administration can interact with and be out there in the community. It's better for all of us, and that's what we're trying to create. There's this big sense of community that we're all in this together, and we have absolutely everything to offer here in terms of housing stock, and it's just wonderful. So I think that's my part of this until we have the Q&A, right?
Yep. Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for sharing that with us. So I'd like to share a little bit about myself for those that haven't met me yet. I have about 32 years in the fire service, and I have associate's degree in fire science from Community College of Philadelphia. I have a bachelor's degree in public safety administration from Holy Family University, and I have a master's degree in homeland security from St. Joe's University. I've also augmented my education by receiving a certificate from the National Fire Academy as an executive fire officer through their executive fire officer program. And I've also graduated from the Harvard Kennedy School of Business from their senior executives in state and local government. So that's just a little bit about me. I spent, like I said, 31 years, 32 years in the Philadelphia Fire Department. I've worked in operations and administration, 20 years in operations, and then the last years in administration. So I have a pretty well-rounded understanding of the fire service. And as the mayor said, I believe in having a community-based fire department because the key word in fire service is service. So the goals and objectives. The mayor's goals are reform, reinvestment, and revitalization. And everything we do falls in lines with the mayor's goals. But as far as the department, our objectives are for us to have a safe, prepared, healthy, and resilient community. And that doesn't only apply to the community, it applies to the fire department as a whole. So not only do I want the community to be safe, prepared, healthy, and resilient, I want our fire department to also be safe, prepared, healthy, and resilient. So most of the decisions that I make are based on off those four objectives to make sure that we can move forward and have the best fire department in the township or the state of Pennsylvania for that matter. My goal is for us to be the gold standard for the state of Pennsylvania. A little bit more about the department. We're a combination department. So one of the things I've heard when I first got into the township was that some people believe that we had a 100% volunteer department. Some people believe that we had a 100% career department. And the reality is that we have a combination department that consists of 58 career staff, 93 qualified volunteers, and we run out of 5 stations, 4 which are staffed by career and volunteers, and 1 station is a total 100% volunteer station. And we respond to emergencies utilizing 8 engines, 3 ladders, and 2 rescues. You heard the mayor talk about the civil service change to help us be more inclusive and reach a larger pool of candidates for the fire department. And we are planning on having a test probably within the next couple of months to recruit more firefighters. And the only requirement to become a firefighter right now is that you have to be 18 years of age, have a valid Pennsylvania driver's license, and then you have to pass a written and physical exam. And what I want to say is that this is one of the best jobs in the world still. Think about it, with a high school education, you can start off making around $60,000 a year. And through steps increases, your salary increases every year until you become fully paid. And all we would need from you, if you're interested, is your name, address, phone number, preferably your cell phone number so we could text you if we have to, and an email address. And you can reach us at recruitment@udfd.org. That's recruitment at upperdarbyfiredepartment.org. So we're looking forward to hearing from those that are interested. If you're a high school graduate, again, you only have to be 18 years of age. And I want to add another plug. I'm in the process of looking for an administrative assistant. So if you go to the website and look, and you have a family member that doesn't want to be a firefighter and is still looking for a job, have them apply for that administrative assistant position. Again, this is the best job in the world. You have benefits along with your salary. We have a good relationship with the community. Like I said, we're a community-based organization, and we want to get some new members to help us with our team. Come join the best team in town. A little bit more about our response data. So last year, we responded to 2,271 incidents, which was a 1.7 percent increase for the previous year, which was 2019. And the top three causes of fire responses for the township was cooking fires, automobile fires, and outside brush. And the reason why we try to identify the top causes is because part of our public education campaign, especially once the pandemic subsides, is we're going to get out into the community and talk about cooking safety so that we don't have cooking fires. And we're going to talk about how to be safe in an automobile if your automobile catches on fire, and then outside rubbish safety so that we don't have as many trash fires or rubbish fires in the community. So those are the top three causes of fires, and we'll be developing our public or fire and life safety information campaigns to address those causes. So the overall response data, we responded to a lot of false alarms. That was the top cause of fire calls last year. And you heard the mayor talking about the nuisance alarms, where we respond to properties for false alarms 2 and 3 times a night, 2 or 3 times a month. So that ordinance that we're trying to pass is going to help us get reimbursed. So if we respond to a property more than 3 or 4 times in a month, then there will be a fee associated to supplement our response. And then if we go there more than 3 times, then the fee increases based on how many times we respond to those incidents. You'll also notice that we went to 340 rescue or fire and EMS calls through the year. And one of the things we've done since I've been here is that we've increased that response mechanism, because in the past, we wouldn't get dispatched to an EMS call until we knew it was the actual EMS event or emergency. Now we get dispatched right away, which gets us there on scene faster, which was real important, especially for cardiac arrest, because you only have 10 minutes to make sure you can bring that person back to life or get them on air, chest compressions, and get them to the hospital. So EMS calls, accidents, because we have a high number of those, we respond to them immediately versus waiting to see if it's a real accident or a real EMS event. Our smoke alarm program. Our smoke alarm program is an unfunded mandate, but what we're fortunate to have is a large number of donors that help supply us with smoke alarms to help us serve those people in need. So far this year, Exelon, the Red Cross, and Home Depot have volunteered or donated smoke alarms to the fire department so that we can assist those people that can't afford them. And the reason why we say it's for people that can't afford them, again, because this is an unfunded mandate that we supply a service just by getting donations from other entities and organizations. In addition to regular smoke alarms, we have smoke alarms for the hearing impaired. So if you have a family member that's hearing impaired, if you contact us, we'll come out and install those smoke alarms also. And that's the key. We won't give them to you to put them up, because sometimes you do that and they never get installed, and then they're not installed properly. So what we like to do is come out to your home, install the smoke alarm, make sure it's installed properly, and not only install them properly, we're going to share with you some fire and life safety information to help keep you safe. We're going to talk about you having a home escape plan. So if you don't have a home escape plan, we'll help you go through that process, because fire safety is a three-legged stool for the most part. And if one of those legs are broken or gone, that stool falls, right? So the three-legged stool includes a working smoke alarm, a home escape plan, and then a fire safety checklist for your home to make sure that your home is fire safe. If you need a smoke alarm, you can't afford one, you can email us at headquarters@udfd.org. That's headquarters@udfd.org. Or you can call us at 610-734-7674. And when you call, please, or email, please provide us with your name, address, and phone number. It's very important to give us a good phone number, because we'll call you before we come to make sure you're home. If you're not home and we come to install a smoke alarm, we'll give you 3 tries. And if after 3 tries you're not home, you have to call back and ask again because we want to coordinate that effort and not waste our members' time to come out and install a smoke alarm. So again, give us a good phone number. We'll call and arrange a date when you know you're going to be home. It could be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, doesn't matter. We'll come out and install that smoke alarm properly. We'll give you some fire and life safety information to help keep you safe, and we'll work on the home estate plan with you. Last is our community risk assessment. We were fortunate enough to get a grant from the National Fire Protection Association to help us develop a community risk assessment tool. And we're utilizing this tool as we speak to develop a community risk assessment for the Upper Darby Township. And the reason why that's important is it helps us identify what the risks are, prioritize those risks, and then plan on ways to reduce or mitigate those risks. And this tool has tons of information. It talks about your community, social vulnerabilities, the housing stock. All those things are important, not only for developing our risk assessment plan, but also we use this information when we apply for grants. So a lot of the information that we use for grants, they want to know the demographics of the community, the size of the community, how many properties are residential, how many properties are commercial. We have all this in one tool. And the good part about it is being part of this pilot program is that it's free. So it's a great tool that we use. If you have a nonprofit organization and you have to apply for grants and you need some information, if you reach out to us, we may be able to help you with that information. That's it for my part of the presentation. If there are any questions, we'll take questions right now. As we move on, if you need to contact me, that's my contact information. Phone number is 610-734-7673. And the email address is dsawyer@udfd.org. Eliza, do we have any questions in the chat?
Hello, everyone. Yes, we have a couple of questions. And the first one is from Amanda B. Forgive me, I'm doing this from my phone. She says, good evening. I live half a block from the Garrettford Fire Station. In the last couple weeks, we have not heard the fire siren when the firefighters respond to a call. Could you please explain why the siren is not in use? If a decision was made not to use the siren, could you please explain how the decision was made? Thank you.
Very good question. Thanks for your question, Amanda. So this decision was made to no longer use the fire siren, and the reason for the decision was there was a pilot program to see what the impact was, and we had some members of the community that complained about the noise, people that work at night, people that work at day, people that have newborns that were being affected, and we did some research. I have no less than 8 studies or documents or research papers that talk about the public health issues of loud noise, including sirens. And not only is it a public health issue, it's a health issue for our members also. And after doing that study and looking at some YouTube videos about urban noise and the impact on public health, I decided that it was time to no longer use the siren. And what you also have to keep in mind is that that station, I believe it's station 20, is the only station in the township that uses a siren. So they have all the means available to them to respond to calls without having the siren go off. They have pagers. We have an account with Active 911 where you can get alerts on your phone. And they also have portable radios. So we have all the mechanisms in place, and we're moving to a 21st century fire department. And part of being a 21st century fire department is to use technology to better provide services for the community without having a negative impact on the community. Thanks for that question.
Thank you, Chief. We have a question that was sent via email. They couldn't join us tonight, but wanted to ask. So this is from Brennan D. What are the plans for the fire department's junior firefighter and cadet firefighter programs?
All right, Brennan, I'm glad you asked that question. So the junior firefighter program, I believe, is an integral part of our department. It's going to help us develop a pipeline for future firefighters. And right now, the program is in rehabilitation. So we're going over some statutes to see what we should let them do, what we shouldn't let them do. We're going to do a risk assessment and figure out what our risk tolerance is. And we will have a junior firefighter program. The only issue is how can they participate and to what degree they can participate. So the junior firefighter program is in full effect. There are going to be some requirements that they have to meet, and we'll go from there. Thanks for your question, Brandon.
Okay, great. We have another one. Let me see here. This is from Council President Laura Wentz. She says, "Good evening. Can you
Good
give us
evening.
information on the fourth ballot question on the ballot this May 18th in reference to fire departments and firehouses' ability to get low interest loans? Will voting yes help our fire department? And if so, how?"
Council President, that's a very good question. So the answer is yes. Voting yes will help our fire department and other fire departments throughout the state of Pennsylvania. So currently, the volunteer loan program is strictly geared towards volunteer organizations. And most of the organizations, or a lot of the organizations in the state of Pennsylvania, are volunteer, but they're also combination departments. And because it's strictly geared towards volunteers, it doesn't give us the ability as a career fire department or a combination fire department to apply for those same loans. You heard the mayor speak earlier about needing to upgrade our apparatus, and those loans will help us to be able to upgrade our apparatus and meet the national standards. The money is there. It's not that they don't have the funding, it's just that the funding is directed to one half of our organization versus the total organization. So voting yes will help us be able to operate as one organization, as a team, and it will help us address one of our major issues, which is updating our fire apparatus, which is outdated. Thanks for the question, Council President.
And we have another one that was written in. This one is from Liz G. And she wants to know what your favorite part of being both fire chief and a fireman in general is.
Liz, thanks for the question. My favorite part is actually helping out the community. I think you heard me say earlier that my goal is for us to be a community-based fire service, and to be able to help keep the community safe and being able to go out and interact with the community and find out what their concerns and needs are. So, for example, one of the concerns was the noise issue with the siren, and us being able to do research and come up with a solution that's going to help the community safe is what I enjoy the most. When I started out, you heard me talk about being a safe, healthy, prepared, and resilient community. Key words: safe, healthy, prepared, resilient. If I can keep the community safe and do things like reduce the noise to help them remain healthy, and I help them prepare by giving them fire and life safety information to stay fire safe, they're going to be a resilient, and we're going to be a resilient community. Thanks for the question.
Okay, it looks like as of this moment, we don't have any other questions. I had seen that people were raising their hands. We are asking that you submit your question via the Q&A feature. So I will give it an, oh, here we go. Perfect. Thank y'all. Okay, Chief. All right, we have a question from Andrew P. He says, what are the steps someone can take in order to volunteer?
One of the things first thing you want to do in order to volunteer is to decide which station or company you want to volunteer with. And then you want to meet with their fire chief and talk about the requirements for volunteering. I can tell you up front that one of the requirements is that you have to be certified as a firefighter 1 and 2. And there's some other training that goes along with that. And once you receive that training, then you'll be able to volunteer. But even before you receive your training, I believe the volunteer stations have other things that you can do until you become fully trained and can actually respond on apparatus. Thanks for the question.
Okay, we've got another one. Okay, this is from Ken B. What are your plans to increase the diversity to include women and minorities within the career and volunteer staff?
Can be. That's a very good question. You want to take that on, Mayor? I saw you
Well,
raise your hand.
can I start and then you can
Yes, we'll tag team it.
fill it in? Yeah, so it's part of what I talked about earlier before, that the Civil Service Commission establishes the parameters for who can apply to the fire department and also the police department. But in the case of the fire department, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Sawyer, I think the age of the application has been lowered, and also with the new parameters, you don't have to have Fire 1 and Fire 2, or you have to have a driver's license, but you don't have to have volunteered in a combination department, or there's very specific parameters and standards previously, but one of our goals is to open it up. So if you're even a high school graduate, you're like, you know what, I think I want to be a firefighter. You can go right in without having, and this is not to take away from the volunteers at all. The volunteers that we have, they on their own got Fire 1 and Fire 2, like Chief Sawyer was saying to the last questioner. But we also wanted to open up the possibility, and we really want people, women and minorities, and to get more inclusivity in the department. But we want everyone to think like, okay, yeah, I could be a firefighter. It's a good job, helping people, and you're not beholden to spend a lot of very precious time that our current volunteers have spent. But and not that all our volunteers want to be career firefighters either. They want to be volunteers, but if you want to be a career firefighter, there's a new path now. So Chief Sawyer, if you want to fill in.
Sure. So to the mayor's point, there were some barriers to recruiting a diverse population of people. One of them being that you had to be 21 years of age. And this is an entry-level job. So we were able to lower the age to 18. So that gives me the ability to go to Upper Darby High School on career day and talk about the fire department as a career. And we do know that Upper Darby Township High School has a diverse group of people. Another thing I'm planning on doing is visiting the Delaware County Community College and talk to the people there. I'm going to reach out to the Veterans Recruitment Center to see if there are any veterans that are about to get out of the military, so that we can recruit them into our ranks also. So that's just the Cliff Notes version, but just making sure I visit those areas, reach out to the faith-based organizations and talk to them about this as a career, and then just meet people as this pandemic lifts, go out and reach more people and put up billboards and signs to make sure that we get a larger group of people that are interested and can apply for the job. But thanks for the question. It's a very good question.
All right. Let me see if we have any others. Just checking. Okay, I am not seeing anyone else in the Q&A. So last call, if you have a question for the chief. And
Just to put say something else, is that this is not a one-time event. Hopefully when COVID goes away or dissipates, we planning on doing this in person. So I would like to go out to each community, come out to their community centers or rec centers or whatever it is, and have a face-to-face conversation moving forward. As we learn more about this community and what the needs are from a public health and public safety perspective, we want to come out and address those needs and make sure we are doing the things to help them be safe. So if you didn't have the opportunity to ask your question tonight, again, you can email me, or when we have our next community town hall, you can ask it then.
Chief, give them your email one more time in case they missed it earlier.
Email address, dsawyer, DSAWYER @udfd.org. It's Sawyer like Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn SAWYER, Sawyer at udfd.org. And again, if you're interested in joining the fire department, and even if you're not interested, if you have a family member, a cousin, a niece, nephew, uncle, and they need a job, have them reach out at recruitment@udfd.org. That's recruitment@udfd.org. I see another question in the Q&A.
Yes. Okay, this message or question rather is from Bradley P. He asked, and we've sort of covered this a little bit, but it's a different way of asking. What steps is the township taking to increase the volunteer ranks?
We're taking the same steps that we're taking to increase the career ranks. Again, recruitment is recruitment. So for example, if I go out to the high school and we have people that saying that I don't want to be a career firefighter, but I wouldn't mind volunteering because I want to go to college first. Well, they can go to college and be a volunteer during the summer when they off, or if they go to college locally, they can volunteer on the weekends or in the evenings. So our recruitment efforts are going to be the same whether you're career or volunteer. One of the things I've stated since I've been here is that we're one fire department. And that's something that I've had to address since I've been here. There seems to be this divide between career and volunteers. The reality is we're one fire department, period. The Upper Darby Township Fire Department. We don't have the Upper Darby Township Career Fire Department and the Upper Darby Township Volunteer Fire Department. We're just the Upper Darby Township Fire Department. So our recruitment efforts are going to be across the board for career and volunteer staff.
All right, that is fantastic. Thank you so much, Chief. I
Thank
am
you.
not seeing any other Q&A questions. There are a few people on this meeting who we want to thank for joining us, and that would obviously be Council President Wentz, Councilman Burke, Councilwoman Blackwell, and we also have County Director of Emergency Services Tim Boyce joined us.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Sure. I'm saying sure on their behalf.
Eliza, I just have one request for people that might be in,
Sure.
what might not have been able to make it at this time. Can we hit the PowerPoint on the website?
Yes, absolutely. We will make that happen. And,
Okay, that's great.
and then when we do, we'll let everybody know that it's up there.
All right, that's great. Thanks.
All right. Well, that wraps it up then for tonight. Thank you, everybody who's watching, whether it's on the webinar or via YouTube. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mayor. And I hope everyone has a great evening.
And thank you for hosting.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for Allison for pitching in too.
Thanks, Allison.
All right. Everybody have a good night.
All right, have a good evening.